Hi, Intuitive viewers. Thanks for coming today. I am really excited to have Lori from The Way of Positive Change back. I was trying to figure out a way to get her back, and I found a way to get her back. So welcome, Lori.
I'm so glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. I keep getting emails about money stuff, and obviously because of the change in our government, because of the upheaval with the coronavirus and all of the changes in the economy, everything's kind of a little bit up in the air, kind of unpredictable. And so I get a lot of requests to read on things like this, and I have to be honest and say that I find it a little difficult. And I'll tell you why. Maybe you can help. This could be my therapy session on behalf of everyone. But, there are two things that I'm always very aware of in a heightened way: money and ego. Those are two things I'm always very aware of, what part they play in my life. And I don't want it to affect me in a negative way when I read, in my spiritual life. But I know that you have a history of being able to read for people's investments. You read for people making decisions on buying a house, making decisions in business. And it's when I have read for people personally, the message from Spirit always comes through that, yeah, we know you have to deal with money. We know that. It's like, we know that it's an earthly thing. We know that. But for me personally, I'm always feeling like I'm keeping that ego, money at an arm's distance. And I think it hurts me as a reader. I think that I explained to you before we came on that I really have to say exactly what I'm seeing, because I don't have a lot of context. I don't know a lot about, investments and money and things like that. So I feel like I'm missing knowledge. So I'm really having to be very specific about what I see. And sometimes that can make it hard as a reader because you don't have any context. And so what I'm hoping is that you can kind of first give us an idea of how you view money, how you feel like it's okay to read on, it's okay to be in your life. So kind of give me a healthier way of looking at money, first of all, and then we'll read together and see what we come up with. But so how do you view it? What do you think about what is your feeling about money and where it should fit?
Okay. Well, I love it that you're burning sage when we're talking about that, because you can see
I know, right?
up over your
Please talk about money.
Thing with money, and we need to keep it clean, right? But I think a lot of people get stuck with that. But really, it isn't anything different than it's trade. It's a tool, and it is exchange is good. So you always want to receive for your service, right? Even in the olden days when they barter, you're still receiving. So it really isn't, it's about your belief in what you're doing and your ability to receive and give. It's an exchange. It's a tool to exchange. So it benefits everyone, because you don't want to just be all on the giving side, nor do you want to be all on the receiving side. So it's a nice, even exchange of barter, whether you're going to give me $20 now and you give me a service later, or what, however, or you just exchange services. There needs to be some sort of receiving. There needs to be some sort of payment or exchange. And the Native Americans believed in that as well. There's always some sort of receiving, giving and receiving.
So I love that. So that makes sense to me, because you're talking about that universal thing of striving for balance. We're always striving for balance, and money is no different that way. That's something. Okay, I get it. And then and you're also saying too that it's a tool. So to me, that says that a lot of how it leaves you and goes into the world has to do with your intention. Do I have that right?
Yes, and it's a tool to, pay for your electric, and to pay for your water. So you might want to always write out on your, I make it a practice of writing out right on top of my bills, thank you uh, for my electric bill. I'm grateful for the electricity in my house and the ability to, I abbreviate it, but thank you.
Right.
I'm grateful that I could pay this bill.
So that's interesting. I understand that. But hearing you say that there is a part for gratitude to play as well, so that it isn't just like it isn't. It's almost making it more. It's bringing spirituality into it in a way when you bring gratitude into it. So that's a really good. That's a great suggestion. Actually, I've never
Yeah,
thought of
you're
doing
blessed
that.
because you're grateful for the service that you're receiving. Grateful for
Right.
heating our home or cooling our home, or being able to watch cable if you subscribe for cable, or you're grateful to pay your mortgage payment because you're grateful for the roof over your head. So
Right.
when we go to the mailbox, you're like, yay, I got bills. I'm grateful I can pay them. I'm grateful for the exchange so I can pay my bills.
Right.
It took
That's
me a long
great.
time to flip it.
Right. And I think that it it doesn't necessarily naturally go hand in hand with spirituality. So I think you do have to break it down and really think about it, because it can be one of those things where you just think, okay, this is no good. I'm backing away. But at the same time, you've got to deal with it. It's like food. You got to eat. So, and you can have an unhealthy relationship with food or a healthy one. And I think that's what you're talking about, is kind of having this healthy balance, a balance of gratitude um, and being able to see it that way, rather than in a way bringing spirituality into it rather than keeping them so separate.
Yeah, and you choose, you vote every time you make a purchase with your money. You decide whether you're going to support this grocery store or that grocery store. Where do their donations go? Who do they back politically, if you want to throw that in there? Or are you supporting a local grocer, a local farmer, or farmer's market? You vote every time you decide to purchase organic, and so you pay a little bit more, but that's blessings for really great food for your body.
That's a great point too, because that talks about, you're saying that there's personal power in it, and there's free will involved as well, that you can make a statement with it, what you believe in, what you don't believe in. So that's a great point as well, Lori. I love that.
It's empowering.
It is empowering. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Well, I love this. I think it's helpful. I think it's definitely helpful to me. I've learned something. So thank you.
We're all still learning.
Right. We're all a work in progress. It's so true. So so we're going to look at all the markets, if that's okay. And how do you like to do it? Do you like to go 6 months ahead, a year ahead, 2 months ahead? How do you like to kind of, if you're just doing an overall look, what do you like to look, how do you like to look at it? How far ahead should we go?
When I was getting ready for this, I did a couple things. I asked for the year of 2021.
Okay.
So, because I know we're still in the pandemic, it's a while, we have the variants that are happening. And so, but if you want to ask for 6 months, we can ask for 6 months, or
I think 2021 is good, because I think that sometimes these are, especially with like the stock market, it is kind of big picture kind of stuff. It can be day to day, but it's been so wacky that I don't know if we want to look day to day, or, even us. I think maybe looking at the bigger picture, because I have a feeling as soon as the new administration gets kind of set, and the markets can see what they're going to be doing, that will make a difference in how things roll along. So why don't we start with something smaller, though, that may affect what's going to be coming, which is the packages that may be rolling out from Biden. So do you want to look at just kind of maybe when and how successful the packages will be that they roll out for like the coronavirus and the stimulus?
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So let's look at that. So Lori, right away, I'm getting two. I'm getting one big and one kind of smaller. And I feel like the smaller is later. I feel like the first one's big and then the second one's small. And the second one feels more to do, it feels specific, like just schools or something. It feels like it's smaller but specific. That's what I get.
Okay, so well, I get that, they realize that people are in need, and so there is that giving and receiving that we were talking about. It's a call to action. So I think his administration feels the call. There's a lot of chaos around it. There's a conflict and change around it. There's the government putting some new laws, some big big deals with the emperor. And this takes time, and it takes a tempering the growl of the lion, or the roar of whoever doesn't want to do it, or who wants it most, on both sides. So it's patience, patience, patience. But there are the laws, change is coming. It's truly difficult. And it looks like, so I have a 5 here, but since there's 2 people, I think you could very well be right about the 2. I'm feeling like it's 5 parts. And people are really, really struggling. And I think they're just going to try to do the Band-Aid every single time there's a need or the hole deepens. It's going to be whack-a-mole, but a successful whack-a-mole. Like, problems there, they address it. The next problem arises, they address it. So it's going to be consistent, but boy, people are going to have to be patient.
Okay, so it sounds like it's coming, but be patient. It's going to take a while. It's going to take a lot of work. But it's good though. I think that's important though that you said that that's the difference, is that they realize the need and they realize it has to get done. The last administration, forget that. They did not see it that way at all. And so that's a huge difference. Huge.
Yeah, it is. Something may, in between the time of Taurus, which is, April, and the time of Leo, I think will be really important.
What is the time of Leo?
Leo is August, end of July.
August. Okay. All right. So we're looking at spring, late spring, probably.
Through summer.
Through summer. Okay. All right. So let's go to, student loans. What are they going to do about student loans, if anything?
Okay.
So Lori, I'm feeling a right away, almost like a halt, a stop, and then to me, what feels like they might take money off, like a percentage off. that like the government will pay 20% or 30%, something like that. It feels like they kind of, it's like they take some of the burden off. And it feels like percentage. It feels like a percentage. And I feel like it's almost like some people are happy about it and some people are not happy. It's like nobody's really that thrilled, but it is what it does. They do what they can. I feel like they're trying to do what they can, but I feel like it's not, nobody's thrilled with it. But it does help, but nobody's like thinks it's the best thing. It's definitely a compromise on both sides because nobody's completely happy. So yeah, that's what I'm getting.
Yeah, I'm getting that too. There's a lot of hesitation and I don't know what to do about it. But they know something needs to be done. And I feel like, so this is, they're not happy about it. And some people are just stuck, but they know this is coming into a time of change. So there will be a very large change here. I feel like it's going to be a correction. So maybe they give a percentage and they're going to try to make a deal. I feel like the banks especially are going to try to make you a deal. You just have to be careful of that back end of whatever you're looking at.
Right.
They're so sneaky, because the fool card is here. So you just have to be careful for what you're signing up for. They're going to find a way to still get money, but help you too, so they say. And some just correct it. Like if you're just way over some could just be, if it's an abnormally large amount and you're just completely upside down, they may waive quite a bit of it.
Right. Okay. All right. Good. It's interesting. Do you think that they might have it? As you were talking, I was thinking, do you think they might have some kind of, like the government will come in and help people to like refinance in a way and get government loan? Because I almost feels like the banks and the government will kind of be in competition in some way. Like they'll both be kind of vying for people's loans or something. It feels like it's a kind of tug of war when, so is that possible? Is that?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, they will be vying to. They want you to readjust with them. They want their money. They want it every which way possible. So they're going to work with you so that they get it. And so it will seem like some of the banks are actually being generous with their offers. Just be careful.
Right.
Be careful of any loophole or on the backside of a deal.
Okay. So it sounds like help is coming, but be cautious.
Help is coming.
Where you get it and how you get it.
The banks are actually, it's not going to be like 2006, 7, and 8 when they were, doing all the securities and everything. They're still going to be tricky, but it looks like there's, like you said, help is on the way. There's going to be opportunities to rework what your needs, and that's why the interest rates will still be low. The Fed will keep them low for a while.
Right. Okay, good.
I mean, they are now.
So do you want to look at this crazy stuff with GameStop and Reddit and what may happen with that? I guess maybe we could look at where it's going to, how this will be resolved, how they're going to resolve this. It's almost like rogue. I'm not sure, but can you explain what's happening? Can you explain what happened for people that don't know?
Difficult. It's really difficult. It's well, it's very much like Robin Hood. It's like the small guy got in and confused the big guy.
Right.
And some people, and there were short sales, and some people couldn't sell when they needed to. And so some people lost a lot of money, and the newbies got the money and tied up the So the term Robin Hood is definitely there, you know.
Right.
Um, there will be new legislation, but yeah, let's take a look at it. Let's
Okay. All right.
see about if they'll allow it to those type of non-fee exchanges like Reddit and Robinhood, if they'll continue to allow them to do business that way, or is that what we're looking at?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's a good thing. It's because it's a little more long term, because this may play out for a little while, back and forth. But yeah, I think that's good to look at. So I'm getting something about people testifying on like Capitol Hill. It kind of reminds me of when they made Facebook and them come to Capitol Hill, and it seems like they might do something like that with the financial community. It feels like that. It feels like they're explain yourself. They're on Capitol Hill explaining themselves, and I feel like it's going to lead to some legislation of some kind, restrictions, that kind of thing. But I'm seeing, yeah, just people testifying on Capitol Hill and it being kind of a big deal.
That makes sense. Anything else?
That's what I'm getting. That's all I'm getting.
Yeah, they're going to shine a light. So the investigating is very much the same as, you know, shining
Okay.
light on the activity
Right.
and how they took place. And these unseen pop-up purchases, you know, these people that just came from nowhere
Yeah.
and you can't see them. And so they're going to shine the light on the darkness there. And then I think they're going to restrict as to how much
Oh.
and how long. So there's
Mm-hmm.
going to be a limit on you can't control that much.
Right. Oh, that makes
Because
sense.
of the loss and the bullying, which, you know, those hedge funds, those were the bullies before, and the bullies
Right.
bullied a bit.
Right.
So,
Right.
but people lost. So they're going to go in there and they're going to say, wait a second, you can only do
Yeah.
this much or over this period of time, or we'll only allow this many.
That makes sense, Lori. That makes a lot of sense. Um, yeah. Yeah, because you can't let, I mean, you can't let any side really be the whole game. You've got to, again, that balance. You've got to get that balance going again.
Yeah, right now it's
Um,
very out of balance.
right.
Total of 10, and he's going to fall over if he's not careful.
Mm-hmm. Good. Okay. All right. And so,
And that, sorry, just one added note,
no,
and
no, go ahead. Go ahead.
apply to the hedge funds too. They may have, this is exposed they're doing, so they'll have their limits set in some ways too.
Right. Well, that's it, right? They've kind of been manipulating things on their end for a long time as well. So it's gonna. I think that's it. It's gonna expose everything, whether they like it or not.
That's shining that light.
Right. Exactly. Shining that light. So my husband had a question for us.
Oh,
He wants to know what the overall economy will kind of look like under Joe Biden. How it will be different than Donald Trump. What the overall feel is going to be with under Joe Biden. A general. So Lori, it's so funny because as a as on a whole, it feels like under Trump, it was so like hoardy, like people were hoarding what they could get. And with Joe Biden, it feels so open, like free flowing. It feels generous. And it also feels like it has to do with investment, like investing in like energy, investing in, infrastructure. It feels like that's what they want. Whether they'll be able to do all of that, I don't know, but that's the intention. I feel like is that they want to spread it around. It feels very open and flowy to me, rather than that kind of like hoarding, like certain groups just hoarding it, or a certain percentage of people that can hoard it. I feel like that's the intention, is to invest. Really, that's the feeling I get, is just like investing in uh, in people, but in like the infrastructure, investing in the country, in a way that is beneficial for all, rather than just a few little, groups of people. But that's the overall like feeling. It feels so much freer and better under this administration.
Yeah.
To me. Yeah.
Before it was, like you said, it was hoarding and control.
Right.
I'm just going to, I'm not sharing. And this is the power of the club, and it didn't get any, there wasn't any progress. Things were just at a standstill that way. Now they're planning, like you said. There's a lot of strategic thought going into this, where they're taking their time making these plans, and it's change and flux and change. So there'll be a lot of change this year, and they're, like you said, planning for travel, planning for infrastructure, planning for the environment. They're going to put a lot into the energy and Mother Earth. I think there's also some help coming to women's health. But they're going to listen. They're going to acquiesce, and they'll use their intuition about where these plans and where the money needs to go, and hope and optimism for the future with these ideas. So it's going to help people feel optimistic and hopeful for the first time in a really long time.
Right.
It was like forever.
I know it does. And I think when they talk about, even the justice system, I think that moves into poverty. That has a lot to do with lifting people up out of poverty, and helping those communities to kind of be in a different, have some freedom and some help in getting being lifted out of certain circumstances. Don't you think?
Yeah, it really is. It's complete change and flux with optimistic planning, like you said, for infrastructure, renewable energy, helping people go towards the future. And when they do that too, they're going to look to see who needs to walk away from those old coal plants, or we need to walk away from those things and find a new approach, a new investment for the people, and help them invest in their future by teaching them. And I think it's good. They're going to do a lot of investigation, a lot of band-aid, a lot of change, investigation, and optimism and growth. But it's
and like you said, walking away from stuff that just doesn't serve us anymore, as a nation, or the earth. It doesn't serve us anymore. We've got to move away from, walk away from it.
Yeah, it's just going to be so much different. But it will be conflict, flux, change. But every time there's a problem, they're going to try to solve it. Right. It's just going to be one band-aid after another. But good band-aids.
Good. Okay. At least somebody's putting a band-aid somewhere. It feels like it's just been the last few years. So that's great. Good. Yeah. Okay. So let's move into the housing market.
Okay.
Do you think the housing market will be is this something we can look at through the country, or do you feel like it's going to be state to state? How do you feel like it's going to be? What do you think, overall, what do you think about the housing market as far as what?
For the United States.
Okay. Let's look at the whole then and just see what we get. Yeah. Clear the air. So, Lori, one thing that's coming through right away, which is I feel like is going to be a problem, is something to do with like landlords, something to do with landlords having some issues. I almost feel like there's gonna be some kind of class action something, or I'm not sure what this is, but it's like landlords are gonna have some troubles at the beginning of this administration. I just feel like there's, I don't know, something with landlords and I guess people not being able to pay their rent and things like that. I'm not sure. I'm not exactly sure what like, again, I have holes, I've got to just be like, this is exactly what I'm seeing, but it's something with landlords and having trouble. I even feel like there might be some foreclosures, things like that. Like they haven't been getting their rent, so they can't pay their mortgages and stuff. And so I feel like they're going to have to figure that out. I feel like there'll be help, like to figure it out, but it might take a little time. It's just fallout, it's fallout from all of this. How could there not be for over the last, there's going to be fallout from the coronavirus and all of this stuff that went on. But that's coming up first for me for some reason, is the stuff with landlords. I feel like construction's going to get better over the year. I feel like it's going to pick up. And it feels like the government might do something for home, like to buy a home. Some kind of like first time home buyers. I feel like they do something to get people to buy into the market, to get it going again, some kind of government thing. So those are the things that come up for me right away.
Yeah, well, and this is one of the areas where it hasn't been so spiritual, when we've had housing bubbles before, or
right.
Unfair lending.
Right.
That's
right. Right.
And that is going on again. There are also some landlords that are going to get hit with fines and penalties for evicting people by getting around the moratorium stay of not being able, because they're saying they're doing it so that they can refurbish or fix the property, that there's mandatory renovations that need to be made.
All right.
So, sneaky thing. So you have to.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah.
So there's secrets, and and then there's the jacking up of the housing market. So there's some areas that are just the prices are going to come down.
Mm-hmm.
We're in a cycle. So we're at the pinnacle in some areas,
Mm-hmm.
probably very much like your area in here.
Mm-hmm.
So California, Florida, Seattle, Colorado, and then it go, so you know what cycles do. They go up and they
Right.
go down, and then some
Mm-hmm.
people can get stuck in those big fat mortgages with when the price or the average value of their home
Mm-hmm.
uh, goes down, and they're
Right.
left tied to the dough. So have to be really careful with that. Again, I think there's going to be a call to work with people, and
Mm-hmm.
as this happens, they're going to help. But boy, you don't want to buy at the top of the market, right? It's
Right.
because,
Right.
but on the bottom, and the two of cups and the lover's card, and we go through all these stages, right? Where
Uh-huh.
we're in love with the property, and then oh my God, we're house broke.
Right.
You have
Right.
to be really careful with that. Um, the sneaky petes are going to be at it.
Right.
They're always going to be at it. But so we really need to make sure that the amount you're paying for something isn't overinflated.
Mm-hmm.
Like look at what was it worth, in 2006? What was it worth in 2010? What was that property worth? Or something similar. So do your
Right.
comparisons. There's going to be a lot of debt. There's going to be a lot of problem, and the cycle, you know, um, goes round and round.
Right. Mm-hmm.
That's not a good outcome there. Just
No.
okay. So I'm not. I mean, we have to keep our sense of humor.
Yes. Exactly. But it looks like, yeah, it does feel a little topsy-turvy, the real estate thing.
Yeah.
Um,
I think that, like you said, there'll be lots of opportunities to do some really creative financing. Just check
mhm.
it out. I think the banks are going to help. I think they're going to, you know, Biden and Obama really helped the banks in that last snafu when they caused it. So I think they're going
Right.
to come around with some good programs. So I'm hopeful there.
Oh, good. Yeah, they definitely, yeah, they fixed it the first time around, so they'll they'll get in there and fix it again. Um, okay, and last, let's look at the stock market, just
Okay.
kind of as a whole, kind of where it's going over the next, year, I guess, over this year. Just an overall. I know it's up and down every day, but just kind of an overall, and also any for you, especially because you know about this stuff. Any stocks that you think are, I don't know, a good buy, or the type of stock that might be a good buy. Um, I would have no idea about that, but that maybe you would.
Well, any type of, we're going to come up, one thing's for sure, we're going to come up with other types of currency. So cryptocurrency that has a good, protection, uh, but you have to really do your research with that. Different types of cryptocurrency, medical investment in scientific research for curing disease, because we're going to have some huge breakthroughs there. So those I think are pretty good. I wouldn't go straight for Bitcoin. I would look for something else that's coming up.
Okay. What about like green technology and things like that?
Yeah.
Environmental things, yeah. You know what I'm seeing? I'm seeing, at the gym when you've seen people when they hold those two big ropes and they go like this. I'm seeing that with lines, like red and blue lines, but I don't know what the red and blue stand for. I don't know what they are, but I'm seeing red and blue lines going like this, um, up and down. Um,
or bear or bull market.
What's that?
Bear or bull, strong,
Oh,
strong purchases, or
yeah, yeah, yeah. But that's what I'm seeing. So I think we could be in for a little bit of a ride at first, maybe a little up and down. Um,
yeah. Ooh.
okay. What do you
Okay.
got?
Well, we definitely, it's volatile and it's been pumped up, and some people get stuck holding some things for quite some time. And that's okay. You should really ought not to be purchasing anything in the stock market unless you intend to hold it.
Right.
You can always invest in blue chip, but I try to tell people to have fun with it, and go after things that you love, like products that you're really fond of, if um, that you really believe in. I
Mm-hmm.
think entertainment might also be good.
Oh,
Uh, things that are geared towards children and entertainment,
mm-hmm.
fun. I think because
Mm-hmm.
people are starved for fun.
Yeah.
Go for that. But you're right. It's like, oh, it's down this day, and then we fix it, or it we blend some things together and we try to temper it with the temperance card.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think the banks will have a big deal to do with the financials. Just real financial institutions are going to have a big play in this, but it isn't awful. This is pretty
Mm-hmm.
tough at first. We're headed for a very difficult time.
Okay.
So these next, 6 months, there'll be some loss. It's tough. The Five of Pentacles is tough. And then it looks like, there's a correction. And that's really conflict, change, flux, and correction are all four of the words that came to me when we decided we were going to do, or you asked me to join you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um,
And do you think, Lori, this kind of goes, because you're saying 6 months, and I'm thinking, well, in about 6 months, it seems like we're going to be kind of having most people vaccinated, kind of coming out of the coronavirus. Do you feel like this is kind of part of the flow of that, of people's just their optimism coming back? That kind of thing would have an effect on money in general, that people just kind of feel more optimistic in their lives in general. I mean, right now everybody's, locked down, closed down, can't see anybody. It's pretty depressing for a lot of people. So do you think coming out of the coronavirus and kind of coming out of this stuff is going to be just people's optimism in general coming back will affect the economy in a positive
yeah,
way?
I really do. I just think we're facing some really tough few months here. Just really difficult energy, flux, change. And then I think it gets better. And I think a lot of people, with the housing market, I think a lot of people are going to be looking more towards land, or they don't want to be, if those variants take over, they don't want to be stuck in an apartment, they want to be able to go out and play.
Right.
But the market itself, we might not do so great, and perhaps China's doing better.
Mm-hmm.
And
Right.
I have a real big feeling that China is really going on the rise, and uh, the United States is going to have some trouble, but we can make it. We're going to
Right.
do band-aid after band-aid. We're going to fix it band-aid. At least we have the band-aids and the
Right.
right.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I kind of feel like we're going to be trying to kind of not just be a consumer society. We're going to kind of move into manufacturing again, or that kind of or creating that kind of thing again. I feel like they're going to try to balance that I don't think it's good for us to just be consumers. I don't think it's a great idea. I think that all of the green technology and all of this stuff is going to give us an opportunity to change our economy a little bit in a more productive way.
Yeah, for our youth.
Think?
We're looking for our youth and
right.
investing in
right.
them. The market's going to have some real issues because the Five of Pentacles is not a good money card.
Right.
Only invest, know that there's going to be changes and invest in things that don't fluctuate that much or that's safe. And don't invest if you can't afford to wait for it.
Right. Right. And it sounds like one of the overall messages that kept coming with each thing was kind of be cautious, be a little bit, read the fine print, and you make sure that you know what you're getting into, and make sure that you research stuff before you jump in, that kind of thing, right?
Yeah, a lot of it will be helpful.
Yeah.
Help will come from places that we just never thought. There's going to be new plans. Very much like after World War II, when they really tried to help the vets and get them into their homes, and there's going to be some plans that we never thought we would see. So that's going to be really great and very helpful. Good. So I'm very optimistic about it, but there's some, there's some corrections and some flux here. Yeah.
Right. Well, and we couldn't have come through this extremely just crazy 4 years without some kind of, it affected everything. We're gonna be feeling this for a little while. It didn't happen overnight, so we're not going to come out of it overnight. It's going to be a little bit of work, but we'll get there.
Right. And there's so much opposition that it isn't over. It's very uncertain. Right. It's it needs stabilization.
Right. Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Lori. I so appreciate you coming on and doing this with me. It's been something I've been thinking about doing, and I keep getting, requests for this market or that market. And I just feel like I need help. I can't do it by myself.
Thank you.
So thank you so much.
The cards and what I got and my feelings completely backed up exactly what you were getting. So I think it was very much in sync, and
good.
I think people are going to get help. It's going to be
good. That's great. That's great. I mean, that's great. That's fantastic. Well, thank you, Lori. And so tell people where they can find you and how they can get a reading with you if they would like to do that.
Oh, great. Yeah. The Way of Positive Change at Gmail. You can email me, or you can go straight to the website, The Way of Positive Change. There's a booking page there if you want to schedule a reading. And of course, I have the YouTube channel, The Way of Positive Change. And I'm very grateful and had so much fun.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome. And do you have certain times you pop on? Because I know you do a lot of live, you do yours live. And so do you pop on just randomly, or do you have specific times you come on?
I'm usually on, 3 days a week. So right now I seem to be on Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday.
Okay. All right.
Saturday.
Just so people know.
But it's always, when I come on, it is 12 noon Eastern.
Okay. So
the 11 Central, 9 Pacific.
Okay. All right. Okay, great.
An early bird.
Well, good. Well, thank you so much, Lori. I really appreciate you coming on, and we'll get together again, hopefully. So, all right. Thanks, intuitive viewers. See you later. Bye.